Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies and gents, gonna take a couple of more minutes. I wanted to go on about my day, take care of my business, working on one of the newsletters for SATCOM. And so we were supposed to have gotten this thing done back in December, but I've been so bombarded and haven't had the time. So now I gotta get it done. Ladies and gentlemen, we were talking to all of you about mortgages and how mortgages work, and a lot of people just weren't getting it. So what you didn't understand is, and just pay attention because this is going to be quick. I'm going to try to not talk so quick, but I'm going to try to talk quick enough to where you get it, because it's necessary for you guys to understand this. Okay, first, when you go and you sign the loan docs, I just spoke with somebody. She said that her loan docs were on top, and underneath it was the power of attorney and the deed of trust. Well, not the deed of trust, the power of attorney and the default, notice of default document. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, she recognized that each of those were separate documents, and she said that initially she refused to sign those, especially the power of attorney. She says, well, they told her, and it said they went over this for a couple of weeks, and they said if she didn't sign those documents, she would not get the loan. Excuse me? Ladies and gentlemen, they can't do that. They cannot tell you that you must surrender your rights in order to get the loan. That's extortion. And who does that? Loan sharks do things like that. They're not allowed to do that, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you do when you're in a situation like that where they make it mandatory that you sign these documents when the law does not require you to sign those documents? The law does not require you to give them power of attorney. So why are you giving them power of attorney? So what's going to happen is some of the wiser, more legally wise individuals are going to have to start challenging the power of attorney. They're going to have to start challenging that as extortion. Because if they're demanding that an individual sign over their rights in order to receive a personal loan, and those rights specifically deal with the loan, then you can't sign over your rights and then put your house up as collateral, because look at what you've just done. You just signed over your rights as collateral, and now you put the home up as collateral. Those were not conditions originally as the loan. Remember, Truth in Lending says they have to tell you about these things in advance. They didn't tell you about that until the end, especially the young lady who they made her sign those documents or they wouldn't give her the loan. See, that's not Truth in Lending. There is nothing in the law that requires you to sign over your rights or that requires you to sign a notice of default power of attorney. There's nothing in law that requires that. You don't have to do so with a loan for a car. You don't have to do it with other things. So there is nothing that requires it. So you people are going to have to start understanding these simple things. I can't do it for you. It's just too much going on. I have a lot of people trying to contact me right now, including people who have had conversations with me in the past. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Lionel. Even though I can't stand Lionel Richie anymore. He's going to take us into the next segment. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't let you do that to me. I can't let your problems become my problems anymore because I don't have the energy for it. Sorry, I don't have the energy. And I cannot let you guys put me in the point to where I am completely devoid of helping myself and taking care of myself. And if I continue, that's what's going to happen, and I cannot allow that to happen. So I have to start focusing on me and my health. And if that bothers some of you, if it pisses some of you off, then you're going to have to deal with that on your own, because I'm not going to be concerned about that. So you want to email me and ask questions? You're not going to get an answer. You want to email SATCOM or contact SATCOM to ask me questions? You're not going to get an answer. You just need to understand this in advance. You want to leave comments on the YouTube channel? You're not going to get an answer. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to call my numbers? You're not going to get an answer. You need to understand this in advance, because I don't want you thinking that I'm ignoring you. No, no, no. I'm not ignoring you. I am acting as if you don't exist. That's completely different. See, ignore means ignorance. It means to be oblivious of something. No, ignore speaks as to ignorance. So I don't want to be ignorant towards this. I want to let you know that it ain't going to happen. So I'm not going to ignore you. I'm telling you in advance. See, I'm giving you the attention in advance so that you know that it ain't going to happen. Every last question you all could possibly have asked, I've already answered on video. So you're just going to have to go and do your research and find the answer, because I just don't have that type of time to devote to you anymore. Tell him, Lionel. See, did you hear him anymore? Okay, so I don't have the time anymore to do that. I just simply don't have it. I'm not going to let you guys do that. I'm not going to let you guys do that to me. That would be foolish. Now, let's get back to my bipolarism. Ladies and gentlemen, what you all need to get is the young lady I spoke to said that she had, we can take this page down because we're not going to be talking about this. I talked about it a little bit on the video and I'll talk about it a little bit here, but this video shouldn't be no more than 15 minutes long. She said she signed the loan docs, signed those other docs, and, but she said those were towards the beginning. Pay attention. She signed the loan docs first. What were the loan docs for? That was for your accepting the loan. Why? Because the loan had already been approved. You'd already been approved for the loan. You needed to sign that loan doc because that's your promise to pay. You're accepting the loan. That's your signature. But a lot of people don't pay attention to things like that because they're signing too many documents. There's so much distraction. All of them words, all of those words, all of those words, all of those words. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, let me say it. I love this song tremendously. It just, perfect song by this unique man, Marvin Gaye. Even though everybody wants to talk about him now, haven't you guys noticed how all of these idiots are talking about people now that they're dead? I was just listening to, what's his name? Witherspoon, Lawrence Witherspoon, or whatever his name is, talking about Red Fox, Richard Pryor, and although he was funny when he talked about it, why do they wait until a person is dead? Or wait until 50 years later to want to say, well, I'm just letting everybody know what really happened, when the other person can't defend themselves. Red Fox can't speak up for himself, but if he did, Mr. Witherspoon wouldn't be talking so much, because I believe Red Fox would put him in his place. Richard Pryor, if Richard Pryor was in his prime, nobody would be talking about Richard, because he'd be making jokes about his own self, but then he would say things about them, especially about people having a Coke and a smile and shutting something up. Okay? So, again, when they were alive, nobody said a word about those guys because they knew that they couldn't handle those guys if it came down to it. Let's get back to the mortgage things, all right, ladies and gentlemen? What's happening is the loan docs was for the loan. That's why you signed them. That was your accepting the loan. The other documents had nothing to do with your accepting the loan. If you had signed the loan docs and received your copy and just walked away, but this is what I told the young lady. I said, the person who gets a loan from the bank and they sign all those papers, pay attention, and then a week later, they go back to the seller and they say, no, I don't want the home. Here you go. You guys can have it. Or 3 days or 2 days, however long it takes to get that check, put a hold on the check. Because remember, the check is coming from them, from you to them, not coming from the bank to them. The check is coming from you to them. And you want to know where the account is, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you know who the seller was, you know who you are, you know who their bank is. Get a copy of that canceled check from the seller's bank. It will list your account number with the bank. You know that positive account that they talk about? Oh God! Oh no, he didn't just tell us that. Oh God! Oh God! How come he never mentioned this before? Because I thought all of you knew. I thought all of you knew that the check that they write to the seller has the account number for you, not for the bank, because the check comes from you, from the monies the bank loaned you, the monies the bank put into that account so that they could write the check. Now, here's the problem. Where did the monies come from? Everybody's been asking that question. Well, they didn't lend me any money. Yes, they did. There was a check, people. There was a seller. They received money. The rest of you guys who don't know anything about real estate, you don't understand this because real estate agents deal with those checks all the time. Okay? So they know that those checks exist. So go and do a Freedom of Information Act with the bank to get a copy of the check. And you do it with the seller's bank because remember, the check went to the seller. And I would suggest you do it with the bank that gave you the loan originally as well. Now, what if your bank is defunct and no longer in business? And what if the bank that the other individuals with is defunct and no longer in business? They still keep those records, ladies and gentlemen. The bank that took over their accounts keeps those records. You just have to do your own research and find it. Ladies and gentlemen, I can only tell you things. I cannot tell you everything. I'm not here to give you every single remedy. There's just too much out there to be giving people every single remedy to every single situation. But now you know that that check exists. But remember, they didn't give you the home because the home was given to you by the original owner, for which the check was written to the original owner from you, not from the bank. You did not buy it from the bank, which means when you signed the mortgage doc, that was a separate agreement for something else. You're signing a loan docs the same as you do for an auto loan. That is the promissory note, people. That's the proof of payment. But nobody's paying attention to that. They're paying attention to words. Words. You see my screen flickering? I have no idea. I believe it is this right here that's doing that, but we're going to not worry about that. Let me give y'all a screen so that we don't have this flickering thing. Come on. This is my girl, Anita. Okay. Let's get back to explaining some things, ladies and gentlemen. With the fact that that is done, the mortgage is signed second. Those mortgage docs are signed secondary. Remember, you could not have put the house up for collateral until you owned it. So the moment you signed the loan docs and accepted those loan docs, pay attention, the buyer had already received the check. But you guys, his bank had already received the check and you guys don't even know that. So when you did the mortgage, that was a secondary agreement. Why? Because the mortgage is not your promise to pay. The loan docs was your promise to pay because that was proof that you received the loan. The mortgage docs you could not have signed until you've received the loan. You could not put up the home until you owned the home. What you could argue, if you were good, and if you guys, the legally wise ones, were good, you could say that you couldn't put up the house as a mortgage because you did not own the home until you received the keys for the house, and you hadn't received the keys, so they don't give you those things until you sign all the docs. So until you received the keys, you had not officially taken ownership of the home, which makes the loan an invalid, not the loan, but the mortgage agreement an invalid agreement, because you could not mortgage that for which you did not own, nor could you mortgage something for future, saying I'm going to own it in the future, because you didn't have the authority to put it up as collateral at the time that you put it up as collateral. We're going to go more than 15 minutes. I'll try to not to go more than 20, but this is just so that you guys know what's going on. There are arguments that people can have, but people are not able to think about the arguments because they're not able to think about the foundation of everything. Pay attention. I'm giving you guys the foundation. I'm letting you know what happened at the beginning. I'm telling you about the stupid check that was created. How do I know that there was a check? Because I told you there was an apartment building that was worth $179,000. I came in, rehabbed the place for my friend at the time. When I rehabbed the place for my friend, who turned out to be an idiot, It went from $179,000 to $551,000 is what he sold the property for. So I increased its value by greater than $300,000. Hold on, make sure you guys understand something. It cost us $100,000 in repairs to the property, so that's $279,000. Pay attention, and he still sold it for $551,000. So that's still almost a $300,000 profit. Cash. We got the check, ladies and gentlemen, after the other bank got paid. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's how we know that there is a check produced to the previous owner. If there's money left over. If not, it goes to whomever the original holder of the note was. Okay, so there is a check. Now that we know that there is a check, now that you know that there's a check, ladies and gentlemen, get a copy of that check. That shows that the monies they lent had nothing to do with the mortgage. The mortgage is a promise to pay. No. Mortgage is not a promise to pay, and you guys are not reading everything. You could not be promising to pay back the loan through the mortgage, because when you signed it, you hadn't owned the home. You did not have the keys. You had not even stepped foot in the home. You had never taken possession of the home. Well, on paper, you didn't own it because there was nothing filed with the county recorder. All of that is filed later. But again, my agreement with them was not for me to pay them in cash. They were supposed to be paid by trading my property on the market. Everybody knows that investing in the stock market is a risk. That's why all brokerage firms notify you of the risk when you're investing in stocks. We do it real quick, y'all. I ain't got no time. We got less than 3 minutes to get this done. So wait a minute. Hold on. Open up now. I must be using up a lot of resources, and I'm supposed to be setting some things off right now. I am using up a lot of resources. I just realized that. I wasn't supposed to be doing this video. I have Mobilize open and a couple other things, so I apologize. Hold on. I cried. This is Nayo and Jennifer Hudson singing Can't Stop the Rain. Okay, pay attention. You see all these? Per trade promotion. Buy stocks online, $6.95. You see all this? For just $5. You see that? Now let's just pick one. Let's go to this one right here that says just $5. This is called Stockpile. Stockpile.com. Stockpile, that's a pretty good name, ain't it? Yeah, whatever. Oh, Ally.com. See, it must be, oh, I'm still downloading. I got to stop that. Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we sit up here and click sign up and everything, it's going to give us a disclaimer about the risk of investing in the stock market. Okay? Why does it do all of this? Why all of this writing? Because investing in a stock market is a risk. That's why there are no guarantees. Okay? This is what you need to know. Stockpile gifts. Fractional share market on closed orders. Quotes and other content. Quotes are delayed at least 15 minutes unless otherwise indicated. All investments involve risk, including possible loss of principal. Every single site tells you that investing in the market is a risk. That's why they are not FDIC insured. Okay? That's why no bank guarantees them. Why? Because it's a risk. That's why you do a mortgage. That's why they traded on the market. Remember, the loan had nothing to do with the home. Even though they gave you the loan for you to purchase that home, you didn't buy the home from the bank, you bought it from the previous owner. Because you bought the home from the previous owner, the mortgage was not part of the agreement. They couldn't make it part of the agreement. Why? Because you cannot leverage that for which you do not own. You don't have the authority. So, hey guys, I never can say goodbye, but I told you 20 minutes, and we're at 20 minutes. Thank you, Michael. Michael is saying goodbye, y'all. Goodbye! Mommy, tell him goodbye. Tell him goodbye. Goodbye.